Daredevil Born Again, episode 4. All right, let's get into this. So, we start the episode with Matt Murdock at an autopsy seeing Hector Ayala's body, and there's no bullet. They don't have the murder bullet. That is, so Matt's kind of like, well, that's a bit weird. And the coroner is like, it wasn't on the body, got nothing to do with me. Fair enough. That's fair enough. You know what? Matt meets Hector's niece, who wants to see her uncle's body. But Matt's like, yeah, no, you probably shouldn't see that. And then she starts talking about how, she's like, it was those corrupt cops, wasn't it? And she talks about how she hates them and all that stuff. And she's supposed to be like, a sobering mess, like angry at the world, which rightly so, her uncle was taken from her. The actress sucks at this. It's just bad acting, dude. Like, comparing her to Charlie Cox, who's right there with her, he just effortlessly, like, conveys empathy and sadness towards her, and she's just like a wooden board. It's awful. And I couldn't help but just roll my eyes seeing her, because that theory that she's gonna be the real White Tiger is in my head, and I'm like, good God, please no. Muse shows up, finally. He's here, finally. Oh my God, where you been, bro? Where the hell have you been? It's episode 4, and we're only now just having Muse. So Muse is here. He's just dragging a body to his workplace, I guess. And then we see that guy wakes up in Muse's hideout, and Muse starts draining his blood. So he's getting to work. That's all we get of Muse, but it's the first shot of Muse we have this whole show. Crazy. I mean, he is in episode 1, making like a graffiti art, but I mean like a first actual shot of like, this is Muse, and it's episode 4. We have Vanessa and Fisk having another marriage counseling session. I'm done with this, dude. I'm done with it. I don't like the idea, again, that they're on the outs. That just doesn't make sense to me, going off of their relationship. So we do get some reason of why Vanessa apparently cheated on Fisk. And she says that, her father was out a lot during her life, and him being gone would hurt her mother. And she did not want that for her. She does not want to be hurt. So I guess I can kind of understand that, but the problem is that, again, Vanessa never would do this. Of going off of the Netflix show, she would not do this, and she was hurt from Fisk leaving, and she's like, you left, I didn't know when you'd be back. Girl, you guys spent how many months apart in the Netflix show where he told you to leave while he was in prison, and you were loyal to him? You would have been loyal to him here as well. Do you see why this doesn't make sense? We do get a scene later on with them where Vanessa tells Fisk, because later on Glenn asks Vanessa, do you feel safe in your marriage? And Vanessa's like, my husband does many things, but hurting me will not be one of them. And she tells Fisk this, and Fisk displays why he's having a hard time forgiving her for this. And he's like, I learned everything from my father, how to manipulate people, how to shake a man's hand, but forgiveness, that was something he did not have. So, he's like, I'm trying here. I'm just trying to, forgive, right? That I can understand from Fisk. It is then revealed the person she cheated on him with, Adam. Fisk says during the counseling session, I had a discussion with Adam. He said we shared a dialogue. Who the fuck talks like that? Like, oh, did you speak with that guy? Yeah, we had a dialogue. What? The fuck? So it is alluded that, did Fisk kill him? He did not kill him. I thought he killed him. He did not kill Adam. He just keeps Adam locked up in a cage and eats food in front of him to make him feel bad. Cool. All right. That's sweet. That's Kingpin, so I'm fine with that. Matt gets a new client, a new case. So this guy stole from a bodega, and he wants probation. And Matt's like, yeah, that's not on the table, buddy. Right? This guy, I think he was going to get like 30 days in prison for a petty larceny. And this guy's like, no, I don't want that. I want probation. And Matt's like, That's not on the cards, dude. There's security footage. The cashier is going to testify. Eyewitness, she saw you. Like, that type of thing. This guy then says, he throws out a mention that it's like, when he's trying to deny he did it at first, he's like, oh, was it a Skrull? And Matt just goes, no. And then they move on. So I think that is, again, another thing of the showrunners being like, yeah, the Skrulls were really stupid, weren't they, in Secret Invasion? We're gonna mention them and then make fun of it. I would again preferred you don't mention it, but if you had to do it, doing it like Matt just going like, yeah, no, and then moving on would have been it's a fine way. This guy's a moron. This guy is a moron. They try to make you feel sympathy for this guy. Like, they really tried to, like, they hammer it home. They play sad music as he gives his poor crybaby backstory. I don't care. You broke the law. He claims that, last time he got 30 days, he missed a meeting and he couldn't get, like his food stamps and all that, right? But you robbed a place and you got caught robbing a place. That's your own fault. That's your own problem. You created this problem. That's your fault. I don't feel sorry for you in the least bit. This dude's a moron. He's an absolute moron. I'm the victim. You made yourself the victim when you committed the crime. You can't do the crime. You can't do the time. Don't do the crime. Okay? So Matt ends up getting this guy's sentence down to, I believe it was like 7 days. And the repertoire he has with the girl Sophia, who is like, in charge of like, setting the sentences and all that, it's better than him and Heather. They shared one conversation with each other, and I already love their chemistry and relationship more than him and Heather already. So moving on, we have Fisk, and Fisk is they show him trying to do stuff in the city, right? Like, Fisk tries to he's gonna do something like get rid of garbage, and a report comes out because Daniel let something slip when he was out in the club one night that what Fisk is planning, and they're attacking Fisk now for being a union buster, I believe is what they said. This is, of course, obviously this article was put out by BB Urich. Yo, I need BB Urich to meet the same fate as her uncle. I think it would be great, because it is shown here that Daniel is like committed to Wilson Fisk, right? Like, he's committed to the Fisk campaign. He's committed to being a Fisk boy. When he admits to Fisk what happened, he's willing. He's like, I'll quit right now. I don't deserve this job, but I'll still support you from afar and all that stuff. Like, he's dead loyal to Fisk, and Fisk sees that. I think Fisk kind of sees like maybe he can mold Daniel into being another Wesley type of thing. I would love, as a homage to the first season, if BB is killed by Daniel, like how Fisk killed Urich. Maybe not like, choke her to death and all that, right? But he kills her to prove his loyalty to Fisk, and Fisk sees that and goes like, yeah. Like that's his boy right there, right? Like, I think that would be really cool. And also BB's just annoying right now, so get rid of her too. But I think that'd be cool. That'd be a cool way to get rid of her and also keep Daniel's like story arc that he's doing here with Fisk. Move that forward. But we get, there's some funny moments with like Fisk is like, oh, he wants to do this, and then his like assistant, she's like, well, no, we can't do that because you need to set this up with the council. Okay, well, let's get it that with the council. Oh, no, you actually need to do this first. And then he's like, okay, actually, you can't do that until you do this. Fisk goes, okay. It's like, I see this a lot in like Clarkson's farm, where Clarkson's like, we'll do this. Oh, well, we first have to make this document. Okay, let's make this document. Well, we can't actually start making that document until you talk to the council. We can't actually talk to the council until we pitch this, right? Like, it's like all this bureaucracy, right? Like, I love how Fisk hates it. They show him going to a kid's, like a middle school choir sings "We Built This City" in front of him, and Fisk is very clearly awkward. And then he's like, when they're like, okay, then the next song, Fisk is like, oh, well, I am a very busy man, and he has to move on. And then he goes to another meeting, and they sing "We Built the City" again, and you can just see he's ready to snap, and he doesn't. But when he's in like, quiet, he just freaking loses it. That's funny. I liked that. So Matt goes to the scene of Hector's death, and he finds the bullet. The way he finds the bullet, I think, is quite smart. He, like, rolls a bottle down the street, and then where the bottle ends up, he goes and follows it, and then that's where the bullet is. I like that. And on the bullet is the Punisher symbol. Seeing this, or well, at least sensing it, Matt goes and finds Frank Castle, Punisher, and we get to see Frank for the first time in the show. And this whole scene, best thing in the episode between the two of them. It is phenomenal. I love this dialogue between the two, where you still see the same kind of like disdain Matt has for Frank and how he operates on the Netflix show, and Frank going like, I don't got time for your goody two shoes hero shtick. I got like bad guys to kill, right? And we get a great scene with Frank talking to Matt and just how much Foggy's death has eaten up at Matt, right? And Frank gets Matt to like admit Matt wanted to kill Bullseye, right? And Frank's like, every day you have to go around living knowing that Bullseye is breathing the same air as you. What about Foggy, huh? Foggy isn't. Like, it's such a great scene, and Frank has a great thing where he tells Matt, he speaks to you, doesn't he? He's like, I get that with my son. Every time I'm not doing something, I hear my son. And he says, get him. That's why I do it. And it's like such a good scene. I loved it. And it does make me more excited to see when we get more Punisher later on in the season. Matt does tell him about like the wannabe corrupt cops, and Punisher just like, a couple fanboys, huh? So I'm thankful they're not going too deep into the stupid, the real reason that they made the Punisher thing in the comic books. It's just, Frank's just gonna go, a bunch of morons, and then, dispenses justice on them. So I'm thankful for that. But this whole Punisher scene was great. Best part of the episode. Best part of the episode. I can't wait to see more of Frank later on in the season, and I'm actually now looking forward to that Punisher one-off later on. It's so great to see like John Bernthal as Punisher again. He hasn't missed a step. And they both felt in character. Both Daredevil and Punisher felt in character at this point. And it was very nice to see Matt actually show emotion and care about Foggy's death, which he really hasn't these past, 2 episodes. So it's nice to see him actually care about Foggy's death. So the episode ends with Fisk, that's to reveal what he has with Adam, and Matt Murdock starts to practice being Daredevil again. We get to see his hidden base that he has in his house. We get to see a bunch of different masks, and he starts twirling his batons again. So he's getting ready to be Daredevil again. I believe he doesn't actually put the suit on until episode 6. So there we go. That is Daredevil Born Again episode 4. Overall, it was okay. The Punisher scene is awesome. While I'm not a fan of the Vanessa Fisk situation, I think of how they kind of handled it for the characters wasn't bad. Like I said, I can make pitches for what happens to Daniel, so that it's at least something. I'm invested enough to make a theory on what happens to Daniel. Nice to see Muse finally do something. I would say this episode's better than most. 7.5, I think, is what I'll give it. So I think episode 1 is an 8. Episode 2 and 3 was 7. So this will be like a 7.5, I would say. Because I didn't mind it as much. Again, the Punisher scene does a lot for me. And Fisk just being Fisk helps a lot. So yeah, I would say 7.5. I think the big bad thing I hate about this one was the stupid scene with Matt's new client. They try to make you feel sorry for this guy. Like I said, he did it to himself. Right? He did it to himself. He was a moron in the first place. Yeah, so that's going to be it. Daredevil, Born Again, episode 4, 7.5 out of 10. That's it. So, thank you all so much for listening. I will see you all next week for episode 5, which I believe is a double shot next week. Episode 5 and 6, it's a double shot, so I'll get to talk about both of them. And then after that, we'll fully be into the reshoots, complete reshoots for Born Again. And hopefully this is from what I'm told, this is now when the show starts to get real good. So I'm very hopeful for that. So thank you all so much for listening, and I'll see you all next week.